So currently, Taylor Swift is re-recording and releasing all of her albums up until Reputation because including Reputation. She owns Lover. Lover is the first album that she owned because a lot of stuff went down with her former music producer or slash music company owner, Scooter Braun, and that was big in the news, and I think deserves some discussion in this episode. So as you understand it, what happened with Scooter Braun and Taylor Swift's masters?
So even as a Taylor Swift fan, I'm not sure that my understanding is complete. It might be a very basic understanding, but from what I know, Taylor Swift signed her contract with Big Machine Records at the age of 15. Very young, in my opinion. Obviously, you're signing a contract. That's a legal document. You have to have some know to be able to sign that document and to move forward with that. It's all legal. She signed that contract, giving ownership of her first 6 albums, masters, to Big Machine.
Which I just want to jump in and say that for a very young musician, that's a very predatory thing to do and to take advantage of a young girl who wants to make it big.
And I wasn't going to say that, but I'm glad you did because that's my opinion on it. I completely agree with you. That said, it's all legal. While she was clearly young, there's nothing wrong with it legally. It was a contract. She signed it. Fast forward to 2018, she signed a new contract with a new company that she made very clear was going to give her a little more freedom with her songwriting, with her vision for her own music, which, if you think about it, you want an artist to have. So when she signs that new contract, Big Machine is clearly not happy. At that time, Taylor Swift, I want to say, accounted for like 75%, possibly more, of Big Machine Records revenue. So she's a huge moneymaker that has now signed a new contract with a new company.
Now, and I don't know if I know this correctly, but wasn't Big Machine Records like unknown basically when she signed?
Correct. She launched them into being known. They have since signed more artists, but even to this day, she was probably the top Big Machine Records artist. So shortly after she makes the change to her new company, Scooter Braun comes into play. So he was not always in play with Big Machine. He acquired that company. His company purchased Big Machine Records. And so he subsequently has ownership of her masters now. Shortly after that, Taylor says, I've been trying to purchase back my own masters.
She wasn't given the opportunity, according to her.
Correct. So here's where I'll interject with my own commentary, my own opinion. Taylor has money, money talks. So in my opinion, she, for her first 6 albums, I would think she would be not only offering a fair price, like she would pay top dollar for those masters. The only reason they're withholding them from her is because they know they can. To me, again, it feels very predatory. She's now a grown woman and they're still withholding them regardless of any price she named. Now, I don't know the prices she named. Maybe she lowballed them. I don't know.
I don't think she named prices. I think, as I remember it happening on Twitter, and I can be wrong, she wasn't even given an opportunity to purchase them and they changed hands without her. And she made a comment on Twitter that money would not have been an issue.
And Scooter Braun made it so that she could not purchase her own masters regardless of price, regardless of it all. And she made it clear that she had wanted to make that transaction happen before he acquired that company.
Gotcha.
So he suddenly had ownership of these masters that he never should, I don't want to say never should have had the opportunity to have, but that happened before she even knew. She wanted to go through Big Machine that then suddenly was now owned by Scooter Braun. Instead, Scooter said that he would give her her masters in exchange for 6 more albums. So I have a huge issue with this because think about it. It took her from the year 2006 to the year 2018 to come out with those 6 albums. And we know that they dictated what the sound of those albums was going to be. They didn't like that she was going to transition to pop. And even when she did, they were controlling of what that was going to sound like.
And can I just say, the deal was what? That if she released one new album of the 6, she got ownership of one of her old albums. So it was like for every one of the 6 albums she released, she got ownership of one of, again, legally, I don't know, but that's just as I understand it.
And that I can't speak to, but just the fact, it's not feasible.
Right.
It's not feasible that she is going to spend the second half of her career because, first of all, if we're being honest, she's getting older in music industry standards that I'm not saying she's gonna go out the door and forget all this ever happened, but she could say, I now want to raise a family, and that's not going to happen if she is tied to them for 6 more albums.
Right.
Not to mention, you can hear the difference between Reputation, her last album under Big Machine Records, and every album since then. Her sound changed, her lyrics changed, the people she worked with changed, everything changed. You can't ask her, I guess they did, but I don't think it's fair that they asked her to go back to doing something that she didn't want to do. It feels wrong to me. Why would she go back to a company that held things over her head? Why would anyone go back to a company that held things over their head?
So as I understood it, and we hit most of the nails on the head, but additionally, I was watching Demi Lovato defend Scooter because if you don't know, Demi Lovato and Ariana Grande still work under Scooter and they are very big fans of his. So I think that actually is where some Demi Taylor drama started because Taylor's bad-mouthing Scooter, who Demi cares a lot about. First of all, I believe Taylor. Second of all, I'm not holding this against any celebrity. I think they are just working with what they have and the information that they have. But I think it's interesting, but also unfortunate that there's that divide in the music industry. I don't know if you know, but I know that Demi, Ariana Grande, and Justin Bieber are all under Scooter. And I don't even know who else, but they'll like all collaborate with each other, but it limits, not that Taylor cares, but they won't be collaborating with Taylor for that reason. The main event of this question, she is re-releasing her first 6 albums, and she's only come out with 2 so far, Taylor, You're Killing Us, Fearless, and Red. And weirdly enough, she re-released Taylor Swift's version of Wildest Dreams. Where's 1989 Taylor's version, Taylor? But anyway.
Maybe when this podcast is released,
right,
we will have the 3rd re-release, whatever one that will be.